Where are we going?
Oh, you ready for the interview? We gotta get there now. We're already running a bit late.
Where are we?
We're back at home. We just went in a circle for the video. It's gonna look great. Starting with the difficult questions, right? Who am I? I'm Dixon. I'm a game designer. I'm a warehouse manager. I'm a father. I'm a jack of all trades. I try to do a little bit of all sorts of things, and this is the current project, and hopefully one of the future projects as well. I was actually showing other game designs at a convention for game designers and publishers and manufacturers and everybody working in the field of game and toy publication. It was a long drive to get out there from the Netherlands all the way to the other side of Germany, and I had been there talking to all sorts of publishers, and I kind of got a sense for what the current trends were, what people were looking for in a game. And on the ride home, for anyone who's driven through Germany, you hear about the Autobahn, you hear about, oh, you have no highway limits, or no speed limits on the highway, but every 100 meters there's another construction site. There's another traffic jam, there's another something. And I was really getting tired of the drive home, and I thought this feeling of, oh, I almost got through, that needs to be encaptured into a game. One of the ideas behind Simplexity Games as a brand is to kind of have things that are playable by anybody. So this game has actually been enjoyed by, kids 6, 7, 8, who are just, kind of getting used to games. Also grandma, grandpa, beginners, but also for the more experienced. So the way that cards get combined, I've seen one experienced player who really immediately understood the rules, understood what they were doing, and went at it. And they played in one turn something like 10 cards, just comboing here and here and here. Needless to say, they won that game, but it's really a game for everybody. I'm excited. This is my baby right now, my project. My toddler might disagree, but I see the interaction that people have when they're playing, and especially when they've got that little got you moment and they're stopping somebody from winning. I've seen a game that was won by one person almost, but then they were stopped with a stop sign, but then that stop sign was stopped with another stop sign, so the people who could still win. It was just tense, and it was fun, and it was fun to watch people have fun. And I think for me, it's that bringing people together and just, and seeing something that you've created do that. I think that's what I like about it. I would say actually the very first playtest was probably my funny fail moment, because I came home from this convention and I said hello to my family that I hadn't seen in 4 or 5 days, said hello, they all went to bed, and I was hyped up on energy, even though I drove from across the country. And I made the first prototype that very first night, and the next day we did the first playtest, and I got some friends together, I had some family still there, and I said, okay, I'm so excited for this, we're going to do the prototype, we're going to do the playtest, I have the prototype. And it was a big fail. Originally, I tried to keep it too simple. There were almost no rules. All you did was take a card from the deck and flip it, and that was the card that you got to play. And it was too simplistic. There was no complexity to it. There was no choice, and it went kind of, And I went, okay, second playtest. You get a hand of cards, and you get actually to choose what you're going to play. That was before a lot of the action cards. There were only 3 or 4 different cards in the deck, so it's come a long way from that version 1.5. But those first 2 play tests, the first one I went, okay, well, turns out it's not so fun yet. So that was a bit of a fail, but it had potential, and it's come a long way since.
Is there anything that you learned along the way?
Oh my goodness. This whole thing has been a learning journey. Not only learning about the process from beginning to end. I've designed games before, and I've done some play testing. but really bringing within a year and a quarter something from an idea to a prototype, through all the play tests, through 5 different versions, all the change logs, pitching to publishers, realizing actually I want to publish it myself, then going into the whole publishing side of it, and how do you market it, how do you start collecting people's email addresses even. That was a big aha moment for me, actually, when somebody at one of these conventions was testing it and they said, hey, how can I stay in the loop? And I blanked. I went, oh yeah, that's a good point. I guess I should start collecting email addresses, keeping up to date with people. Just learning all those little things. And then also in the manufacturing, how many different just types of cards you can have. A card I thought would be easy enough. No, we've got all sorts of different insides of the cards, different sizes, different colors, different cuts, and the Europeans manufacture like this, the Chinese manufacture like this, all the different shipping and customs, and there's a lot to learn still. Sometimes it drives you crazy. So I've done a lot of this out of pocket, the graphic design, a lot of the testing, going to all these conventions and, getting the word out about it. At the end of the day, though, for an actual production, you do need backers. You need to see that people are interested enough not just to ask if they can buy it, but to actually buy it, and then have some of that money in pocket again to actually fund the production. That's one reason why kind of a pre-sale Kickstarter. Another reason is because you get to actually interact with the people that you're selling to. You're not just handing it off to a distributor who's gonna sell it somewhere and you don't know who's getting it. You get to actually meet people at conventions. You get to talk to them when they ask questions on the Kickstarter. You get to send your email updates and really bring them along in the process. And again, it comes back to what I like about the game itself. It brings people together and it brings these interactions out and builds these relationships. That's what board games are. It's a social activity. It's a social hobby, and that, for me, from the design side, from the publishing side, is also the same way. So yeah, that's why Kickstarter. Well, it's fun frustration. It's really gotcha. It's that roller coaster of am I ahead or am I behind? In some of these games where you're collecting points, you can see clearly who's ahead, who's behind, and it's kind of clear halfway through the game who's going to win. In this game, you can be 50 kilometers away from winning and still be in a fight for your life to get that biggest bedroom and really be the first one in Holiday to get it. So yeah, I've seen people come from behind and all the way up. Ooh, my favorite card in the game has to be the shortcut. The look on somebody's face when they block you with a traffic card and you play that shortcut card and just float over in your balloons, as the art on the card shows, when you kind of block them blocking you, that is quite nice to see. And it's a useful card because if you aren't blocked by a traffic card, you can always still play distance cards with it. So that's one of my favorites. Something unexpected I learned. Honestly, it was unexpected to me how much support would come from strangers. That it's heartwarming, and I didn't expect it at first. Going to these conventions and having people go from, this could be interesting, to really loving it. I had somebody who didn't want to sit down and play at first, but his family convinced him. And in the end, he stayed talking to me about it until his family left. And they had to come back to get him because he was chatting about what's going to happen with it, how can I support, where can I write a review, which Board Game Geek, go write a review if you've played, or write a review that you want to play because you've heard good things about it. Anything's appreciated. This isn't just buying a product. This is supporting the creation of a product. This is seeing an idea and being a part of the reason why it comes to fruition. So if you've never backed a Kickstarter before, know that there's always some risk to it, although I have to say this is already finished, this game. So little risk in this one because all you got to do is now produce it, right? But you're creating something from nothing. So, you know, there's always going to be some twists and turns along the way, but you can, I guess, go to bed knowing that Driving Me Crazy would exist because of you. Oh, back the Kickstarter. Tell your friends about it. Word of mouth is a great marketing means, especially for people with no marketing budget. And, you know, play the game.